Welcome everyone, I'm Mindy Eggen, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to create this bat shaker card if you don't have any foam strips. So these products are a part of the Pretty Pink Posh Halloween release for August 2024, and I want to quickly walk through some of the new products that are available, including 4 new embellishment mixes, all in these cool Halloween colors. Then we have some new stamp sets. So this one is the Halloween corners. I will be using this one in my card project today. It does have a coordinating die set that you can purchase. And then next we have upright greetings, Halloween. All of these greetings fit great vertically on your card front or your tags. Next, we have Halloween icons, and these are all smaller images. There is a coordinating die, so you could create little circles out of them. You could see here, you can make just these fun little icons on the front of your card. Then we have a Halloween train, super cute and spooky with those spider webs. And then there's also a cart with candy corn in it. Again, coordinating dies that you can purchase separately. And then next we have Batty About You with all of these fun, cute bats, a little branch, and then a moon with the bats on it. And most of these do have sentiments, so everything you need is usually right included in the stamp set. Then there are some fun Halloween stencils. This one is called Scattered Bats. We have Halloween words with all of these cool Halloween words included on the stencil. Then there's layered birch trees, great for creating spooky backgrounds, but keep this one in mind for Christmas. I think it'd be really great for Christmas cards too. And then there's the Halloween wreath, which I will be using in my card project today. Now on to some standalone dies. So this is the spiderweb and candy corn border. They are sold separately. I just happen to keep mine on the same magnet sheet. Next, we have the stitched ghosts. So it's a ton of these really cute stitched ghosts that you can add little faces to. Then there is a pumpkin cover plate. Great for shaker cards, I think. I some reason always think of shaker cards when I see these cover plates. Then we have Ghost Holder, and this guy is super cute because there is a die in there that cuts his arms. It's already built into it, so he can be holding the pumpkin or a candy treat bag. Then there is the candy bucket. This one brought back some memories for me because it's these cute plastic pails that you can turn into a monster. I think there's one for a pumpkin and then also a Frankenstein. Then we have a big Halloween cupcake. Lots of great elements on here to either get real cutesy or super creepy crawly. There is the build a monster, build a bunch of fun family of monsters. We have candy corn shaker. Then there is also a bat shaker, which is what I'm going to be using today. And then we have some spooky mug editions. So the spooky mug editions goes with the original mug that you would have to purchase separately, but these are also great to use on their own. So that's just a really quick walkthrough of all of the products being released this month. And now I'm going to start working on my card project. So I'm going to start by ink blending a background, and I'm using the Halloween wreath. I have a piece of white cardstock cut to 6 by 6, and I'm putting a little bit of repositionable tape on the back to secure that down to my glass work surface. I do have a black glass board underneath, but I bring in a white because I can just see my ink better on a white mat. All of the Pretty Pink Posh stencils are labeled down in the bottom right hand corner to tell you A, B, C, or no, A, B, C. I think there's only 3 layers to this stencil. So I have that just kind of flush with the bottom of my cardstock, and I'm going to hold that down with some Post-it tape. Now, as I start ink blending, I apologize. The first bit here is going to be a little bit overexposed. I'm going to adjust my lighting in a little bit so you'll see these better. But this layer has some ghosts on it. It also has the white part of the candy corn on it. And I'm using a light gray ink to do my ghosts. I kind of start on one side of the ghost, a little heavier handed, and then have it fade off. So it's going to give it kind of that wispy look. There is also, I believe, these stems on here for the pumpkins, and you'll be able to see it better once I adjust my lighting, which I think is coming up. Here we go. So you can see this a little bit better. And then plus, just as I start applying the colors, you can see how this is going to start coming together. These detail blending brushes I'm using from Gina K Designs. They are really great for stencils like this because you can really hone in on a specific area versus having to mask everything off, which is what I end up usually doing. But having a small blending brush like this is just super helpful. So I brought in some purple for jelly beans, yellow for stars, and then green for the stems. Most of the inks that I'm using in this project are from Gina K Designs. I don't remember exactly which ones, but any color out of your stash is going to work for this. That was just the first layer of the stencil. So I lined up the second layer, which is layer B. I kind of lined up the bottom edge of the stencil with the bottom of my cardstock. And then I'm coming in with some additional colors. So I used more of a lighter yellow for the moon. We have the orange piece of the candy corn. And then I'm also doing the pumpkins on here. For the pumpkins, I go around the outer edge kind of heavier handed and then have it get lighter as it gets towards the center just to add a little bit of dimension to it. We have some stars on here that I did in a light purple. So that is the finished second layer of the stencil. And the last layer of the stencil has the bats. We also have the yellow piece for the candy corn. So there's bats, there's the face of the pumpkin, there's some spiders. So I'm bringing in some black ink to fill in all of those areas. I think this would also make a really cool monochromatic background. So if you did maybe some dark purple ink on some purple cardstock, I think that would look really neat too. So don't forget about your monochromatic looks. So my Halloween background is complete. I just pick up my cardstock, which removes very easily from that glass board. And then I just use my finger to rub away any of that excess tape that was on there. Now I'm going to start working on my bat shaker. So for the bat shaker, you're going to need these two bat shapes. One is a little bit larger, has a stitched edge, and the other one is a little smaller. I am die cutting that stitched one out of a dark gray cardstock and a black cardstock. To create the shaker part, I'm taking the black piece and I'm taking that smaller bat and lining it up within the stitched lines. I'm going to hold that down with some tape and run that through my die cut machine to create the frame for my shaker. So this is going to layer over the top of my dark gray piece, which I'll end up kind of filling in with some of the shaker beads. We also are going to need a piece of acetate. So I ran that stitched piece through my die cut machine with the acetate. Acetate can be a little tricky to die cut. For the most part, a die cut, and then I just use some scissors to kind of snip away the rest. Then I'm going to be attaching this. Now, a lot of times with shaker cards, I used like a double-sided tape to go around edges. This is pretty small, and I really didn't want to fuss with double-sided tape, to be honest. So I'm taking some liquid glue, and I'm adding that to the center, kind of where the stitched line is. And then I'm adding that over the acetate. I didn't really see where I had any excess seeping through because I did start kind of in the center of that stitched line. Now, to do my shaker, there's a couple different ways you can do shaker cards. And a lot of times you would see me using foam strips, things like that to build up the well for my shaker part. But in this case, these lines are pretty tiny and I really don't think I have any foam strips that are that small. So I'm going to build up my wall. I just die cut out a bunch of bats from some black cardstock. And then I just layered that together to create that well. Now with the shaker beads, which I'm using the Halloween Classic shaker bead mix, you don't need to build up your wall super big because the beads are pretty small. So I put the beads inside of my well. This is my bat flipped over. I added some liquid glue to the center of that line, and then I'm placing my backer over the top. And then I'll take something heavy and just let it sit over the top. I did that a lot throughout the building of my well too. I placed something heavy over the top to really let that glue settle in. Now, I didn't count when I was doing my frame. I think maybe 6. That's just a guess. You really don't need a lot, and it depends on how thick your cardstock is. So my shaker portion is ready. It's super cute. And for my background, I'm going to use a rectangle die from my stash. So that way I can get this centered. If I try and trim this out with my paper trimmer, I am just setting myself up for failure because I want my wreath or the circle to be centered. So I like to use a rectangle die to do that. So I trimmed that out, and that is going to be the front of my card. And then my bat is going to be kind of a kitty corner in the center of my wreath. Now I am going to go ahead off screen and attach this the front panel or the wreath, my stencil background, to an A2 size side folding card base, but I need to do a sentiment. I'm choosing this Spooky Wishes, which is off of the Halloween Corners stamp set. I'm stamping that in black ink onto white cardstock, and then I'm going to die cut that out with my coordinating die that you can purchase separately. I do also go ahead and use the rest of that paper to die cut out another one, and then I layer those together with liquid glue. That's just going to add a little bit of stability behind the sentiment. Then I can start putting my card front together, which really is super easy because I only have 2 elements that are going on the front. So I have my shaker portion. I'm adding liquid glue to the back of that. And then I'm going to put this down kind of kitty corner here. I wanted my sentiment to be kind of nestled in there. So I'm going to put something heavy on there, let that sit. I'm going to add some thin foam squares behind my sentiment. And then I'm going to place that just right above the bat head. In the bat shaker die set, there is an additional piece where I could create a face for the bat, but I really wanted to show a lot of the open area for the shaker mix. So when I start moving this around, these shaker beads move so easily. There are a little that are stuck at the top there. It must have been from maybe the liquid glue, but when I tapped my finger on it, they came loose right away. And now we have this really fun interactive Halloween card ready to go, and such a great way to still create a shaker card if you don't have the right size foam strips. So I hope this has inspired you and you enjoyed today's card tutorial. I will have all of the supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you again in the next card video.